to my predictions for game week 25 of the Premier League season. Now, just before we get into today's predictions, or I should say the predictions for this weekend, I'd just like to quickly recap the FA Cup predictions from last week. So I actually managed to correctly predict 3 scores and 8 results in the FA Cup last weekend. I think I predicted Middlesbrough Newport draw, Portsmouth QPR draw, and Doncaster Rovers to beat Oldham 2-1. But then we had a midweek of Premier League games which just shocked, to be honest. The only correct score that I got midweek was the Everton game, which I predicted would finish 1-0 to Everton, which it did. City lost, Liverpool drew, United drew, Brighton lost. Everything went wrong. At one point I was right on the Brighton score as well, it was 2-1, but no, they had to go and lose 4-2. And I'd removed Mitrovic from my fantasy team, so things just got even worse. Now let's take a look at my predictions for this week's Premier League games. So we start the weekend of Premier League fixtures with the lunchtime kickoff live on Sky Sports on Saturday. Tottenham against Newcastle. Tottenham, who won against Watford in midweek 2-1, and Newcastle, who shocked the world by beating Man City 2-1. So Spurs have won each of their last 3 matches against Newcastle, and none of Spurs' last 20 home Premier League games against Newcastle have ended as a draw. Tottenham have got a pretty decent record in February as well. They've only lost 1 of their last 26 home Premier League matches this month. Spurs, however, have conceded at least 1 goal in the last 5 matches and will be without Harry Kane or Dele Alli. But on the plus side, Son is back from the Asian Cup. Newcastle have lost their last 7 visits to Wembley in all competitions, last winning there in the 1955 FA Cup final against Manchester City. Newcastle also have a pretty bad record in London. They've won only 3 of their last 21 Premier League games in London. 2 of those were, however, against Spurs. New record 20+ million signing Miguel Almiron will not be available for Newcastle this weekend as he's still awaiting a visa. And Newcastle last won at Spurs in December 2015. But like I said, Newcastle will be in a positive mood after their massive win against City on Tuesday. And I'm predicting that the good vibes keep on coming for Newcastle, and I'm going to say it's going to be a 1-1 draw on Saturday. Now for the first of Saturday's 3 o'clock games, and it's Brighton against Watford. Brighton, who, as I said earlier, lost a 2-goal lead against Fulham to end up losing the game 4-2 midweek. Brighton don't have a good record against Watford either. They've only won 1 of the last 8 league matches against them, which was in this exact fixture last season with a 1-0 victory. Brighton have failed to score in the last 2 games in all competitions. The last time they failed to score in 3 home games in a row was in January 2016. And Brighton haven't lost 4 consecutive league matches since December 2011. Watford are looking to complete a league double over Brighton for the first time since the 1973-74 season when they were both in Division 3. And Watford's 2-1 defeat to Spurs midweek was their first loss in 5 away matches in the Premier League. Watford haven't lost consecutive Premier League away games since they had a run of 6 away defeats between February and May last year. Watford have only conceded 3 goals in the last 5 matches, but Brighton's Glenn Murray is only 1 goal short of getting his 100th for Brighton, and I think he's going to get it. But I think Watford are going to win 2-1. Next up we go to Turf Moor for Burnley against Southampton. Now, new deadline day signing Peter Crouch could be in line for his first start for his new club and will be hoping to score for his 7th Premier League club, matching a record that is currently held by Craig Bellamy. All 3 of Burnley's Premier League wins against Southampton have been by a 1-0 scoreline. Burnley are unbeaten in their last 5 league games and could match their Premier League record of 6 if they avoid defeat on Saturday. However, Burnley haven't won any of their last 13 Premier League matches played in the month of February. They've drawn 6 and lost 7. Burnley have scored 2 goals in 4 of their last 5 league games. Looking at Southampton now, and they are also unbeaten. They're unbeaten in 4 league games and have taken 7 of a possible 9 points in their last 3 away games. Southampton have scored at least 1 goal in each of their last 5 matches. However, they've only kept 1 clean sheet in their previous 14 Premier League matches, so just letting in the goals constantly, Southampton, and I can't see that changing on Saturday. I do, however, think that they're going to score some goals too. I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw between Burnley and Southampton. Now we head to Stamford Bridge for Chelsea against Huddersfield, and Chelsea will be looking to bounce back from that 4-0 defeat to Bournemouth in midweek. But they might have to do so without their new signing Gonzalo Higuain, who has been struggling with a back injury this week. Chelsea have failed to score in 3 of their last 4 league games and have only managed 13 goals in the last 13 league matches. At the other end, however, Chelsea are pretty solid, having kept 10 Premier League clean sheets this season, only bested by top of the table Liverpool. Huddersfield's last league victory over Chelsea was in the second division all the way back in March 1963. Huddersfield have lost 10 of their last 11 league matches and haven't scored in 4 games. And Huddersfield have a pretty poor record against the top 6. They've lost all 7 league matches against the current top 6 by an aggregate score of 19-2. And I can't see that changing on Saturday. I'm going for a Chelsea win. They're going to get back to winning ways after that disappointing defeat midweek. They're going to win 3-1. It's Crystal Palace against Watford up next from Selhurst Park. In the last 4 meetings between these two sides, there have been 15 goals, so it's a game that almost guarantees them. Crystal Palace will be without the suspended Wilfried Zaha on Saturday. However, new signing Michy Batshuayi could be available. Palace haven't got the best of records at home this season. They've only managed 2 wins out of their 11 league matches so far at Selhurst Park, and they've failed to score in 7 of those games. Palace also with a pretty bad record in London derbies. They've only won 4 of their last 28 Premier League London derbies. And they haven't won at home in the league since a 1-0 victory over Leicester in mid-December. Fulham, on the other hand, will be feeling pretty positive after coming back from 2-0 down against Brighton in midweek. And they may have their 2 deadline day signings, Havard Nordtveit and Lazar Markovic, available if they pass fitness tests. Fulham have only lost 1 of their last 11 league matches away to Palace and have won 5. However, Fulham have only claimed 1 point from 5 away games since Ranieri took charge, and Ranieri is without a win in 20 Premier League away matches, losing 14 of them. He does, however, boast a good record against Palace, having won all 3 of his previous Premier League meetings with them. Fulham have scored at least 1 goal in the last 7 matches in all competitions, but they're the only Premier League side yet to win away from home this season. But I think that's all going to change. I think they're going to get their first away win of the season, and I think they're going to win 2-0. Next up is Everton against Wolves from Goodison Park. Everton have a very good record in February. They've only lost 1 of the last 25 home matches in all competitions in February and are on a 10-match winning streak at home to newly promoted teams. However, they've won just 1 of their 8 Premier League matches this season against teams that started the day higher in the table than them, losing the last 4 in a row. Everton have averaged 1 point per game over the last 11 league games. Looking at Wolves, they've scored 3 or more goals in each of the last 2 league games. Wolves are also 1 win away from equaling their highest number of wins in a Premier League season. They currently have 10. If they win on Saturday, that'll obviously be 11 and will match their previous best. And I'm predicting them to do exactly that. I think Wolves are going to win. Everton haven't been very good at home so far this season, and I've got a Wolves 2-1 victory on Saturday. Now we look ahead to the Saturday tea time game, which is Cardiff against Bournemouth. Now this match is live on BT Sport, and Cardiff haven't won in 5 home matches against Bournemouth, drawing 3 and losing 2. The Bluebirds have won just 2 of the last 16 league games against Bournemouth, last winning in February 2002 when Eddie Howe was actually playing for Bournemouth. The last time Cardiff beat Bournemouth in any other competitive match was in the League Cup first round back in August 2008. Leandro Bacuna could make his debut for Cardiff after his deadline day move from Reading. Cardiff are without a win in their last 5 games in all competitions and have only scored 1 in those matches. Sticking with Cardiff's poor goal scoring record, and they've only managed to score 2 goals in their last 7 games. Their last Premier League victory was 8 games ago against Leicester. However, 14 of Cardiff's 19 points and 4 of their 5 wins this season have been earned at home. Now looking at Bournemouth, and they will be without Callum Wilson on Saturday evening after undergoing minor knee surgery. But Dominic Solanke could be in line for his first start after recovering from a hamstring injury. Bournemouth should also be on a high from their 4-0 drubbing of Chelsea midweek, but they have lost 7 consecutive away matches in all competitions. Only Fulham have conceded more away goals in the league this season than Bournemouth, and that's one of the reasons that I'm going for a home Cardiff City win. Cardiff are going to win 1-0 on Saturday evening. Now on to the Sunday matches, and we start with a game between Leicester and Manchester United. This one's a 2:05 kickoff on Sky Sports. Now both teams will be feeling positive after coming back from losing positions to retrieve draws in midweek. Leicester obviously coming back to draw with Liverpool after being 1-0 down, and then Manchester United coming back from 2-0 down against Burnley. Leicester have won just 1 of the last 21 games against Manchester United, losing 16. And new loan signing Yuri Tielemans could be in line for his first start if he receives international clearance in time for Sunday's match. Leicester have scored at least once in each of the last 5 games, but have only won 1 of their last 5 matches, and only won 4 times at home all season. However, Leicester have picked up points against Liverpool, City and Chelsea so far this season, including beating City and Chelsea in December. Pogba and Martial should both be available for this match for Manchester United despite picking up injuries. And United are looking to win 5 consecutive away games for the first time since Sir Alex Ferguson's final season in charge. United are unbeaten in the 9 games since Solskjaer took over, and I don't think that's going to change. Don't think they're going to win though. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. I think Leicester are going to continue their decent run against top 6 sides and grab a point at home to Manchester United. Now on to Sunday's second match, Manchester City against Arsenal. It's a big match. It's probably the biggest game of the weekend. Definitely the biggest game of the weekend, at the top of the table at least. Now this one's a 4:30 kickoff on Sky Sports. City have won their last 5 home games and have scored 24 goals without conceding in their last 4 games at the Etihad. They have, however, lost 4 of their last 9 league games, but have scored 3 or more goals in 5 of their last 7 games in all competitions. Manchester City beat Arsenal 2-0 in the reverse fixture in August with goals from Bernardo Silva and Raheem Sterling. And Sergio Aguero has scored 7 goals in 11 games against Arsenal, but he hasn't scored in the last 2. Also, Pep Guardiola is unbeaten in 11 games as a manager against Unai Emery, winning 7. Now on Arsenal, and they are the only Premier League side yet to keep a clean sheet away from home so far this season. Arsenal have lost 11 of their last 19 away league matches and are without a win in their last 20 league away games against the top 6 since winning 2-0 at the Etihad in January 2015. Arsenal have not got the best of recent away records in the league either, winless in 5 away league games since winning at Bournemouth in November. Arsenal have, however, scored 12 goals in the last 6 games, but they've conceded 10 in their last 5 away games. And I don't think Arsenal are going to keep a clean sheet this weekend. The Liverpool fan in me is telling me to bet against City, but I think that would just be stupid. So I'm going for a Manchester City win this weekend. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be a 3-2 victory for Manchester City. I think they're going to come back from that defeat midweek and pile some pressure back on Liverpool, who don't play until Monday. And the final game of this weekend's fixtures is my team, Liverpool. It's West Ham against Liverpool from the London Stadium. This one's live on Sky Sports. I think it's probably an 8 o'clock kickoff. They generally are. I didn't actually look at that one. My bad. So West Ham have lost their last 4 league games against Liverpool, conceding exactly 4 in each of those games. They've lost 4-1 twice and they've lost 4-0 twice. West Ham failed to register a shot on target during their 3-0 defeat to Wolves midweek, and they last beat Liverpool at home in January 2016. West Ham have also lost their last 3 in all competitions and have conceded 9 goals in those games. Whereas Liverpool have kept 6 clean sheets away from home in the league this season, but they have looked a bit shaky since their 2-1 defeat at City in early January. Now, speaking as a Liverpool fan, this is hopefully the start of them getting back on track. I'm going for a Liverpool win. I obviously wouldn't do anything else. I'm a Liverpool fan. 3-1 victory for Liverpool I am predicting on Monday. I hope they score more. I also hope City lose. I hope my prediction's incorrect about that one. The Everton Man City match, which is in midweek, which is also a Premier League game, I will do my prediction for that game in the FA Cup 4th round replay predictions video, which will probably be coming out on Monday night, I would say. But that is it for my predictions for this weekend's games. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, hit the like button. Please subscribe to my channel to get all my content when it comes out. I think I'm losing my voice. And I'll see you next time.